Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Meets Heart, podcast for your soul. I'm your host, Hugs, and today I get to do something really special. I sit down with someone who I am proud to now call a friend. She didn't start with a blueprint. She just started with a camera and passion and fire that doesn't go out when life gets hard. And she's the founder of the RCP Team, Regina Calderone Photography, full service, high volume youth sports and school photography company in Fairfield County, Connecticut, and northern Westchester County, New York. Leads an entire team of photographers, and she has become known in her role as someone so organized, so warm, and so good at what she does that her clients literally call her team miracle workers. So I just want to introduce to the show, Regina. Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you here. Thank you for saying yes to coming on the show. And I have two traditions on the podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the first one, which is just a quick little meditation where we take a deep breath before we begin to help us be grounded and present for the conversation. All you have to do is inhale love. So we're going to take a
Sit up
deep
nice
breath
and tall
in,
for this one. Okay.
inhale love. And then exhale gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There you go. That's the first tradition we have on. And then the second one, which is my favorite, is my last guest actually
Yeah,
left.
I know.
My last guest actually left you a message. Hopefully it lands with you today. If it doesn't, hopefully it does land with someone in the audience who's listening today. But my last guest left this message for you. They say, pay attention to negative things around you and find a way to get rid of them. Take the negative thing and say the opposite. This is how you switch a negative into a positive.
I love it. Resonates fully with me. So thank you. Who was your last guest?
Her name is Debbie, but I'll let her know.
Okay. Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right.
Debbie.
So, sorry?
I said thanks, Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie. So, Regina, I want to thank you for being on here. And I know that there's a lot of things that I want to get into. I know in the span of a year, you grew your business by over 300, I think it was 300%. And then you grew it again 75% after that. But, what I love most about your story isn't the numbers and it's more about what those numbers represent, like what you had to walk through, maybe let go of or rebuild in order to get there. I know that you've once said when you're immersed in something you love, that's when you know you've chosen the perfect career path. And hearing that a child feels like they're on the cover of a magazine is absolutely priceless. And that's something that I see that, and I know you're doing everything you do with your heart. So for those of you, or thank you for being here. But for someone who doesn't know you, can you fill in the blanks? Who is Regina? Maybe beyond the camera.
So I am a boy mom who truly loves being silly, working with the youth, just being myself and really honest. Being able to raise my hand when I made the biggest mistake and say, okay, well, you live, you learn, and truly just being my authentic self wherever I am in life, really. I think that is just who I am as a person with my friends, family, and the reason why my business is growing the way that it is in the last 3 years.
So maybe you can take me back to when it started. What was that version of you like?
Is this
And
3 years ago or like
I'm
way
talking
back?
about maybe 2009, I think, when it
Yeah.
started. And maybe what version of you was like then, and then what made you say, "I'm gonna do this," or "I'm gonna focus on this."
So I started as a wedding photographer and I thought I was going to take over my father's business actually. And born and raised like with a camera in my hand and starting working with him when I was 13. Graduated college working with him and I had these great ideas and he really, I guess, didn't really want to hear it. And that was hard for me. He expected me to go out and shoot in a particular manner, and it wasn't the way that I could see things or feel things. And you could work for my father, you could work for anybody because he was a tough boss. And eventually, I think in 2009 is when I said, you know what, Dad? I think I'd rather have you as my dad because we no longer really had that father daughter relationship. It was just a matter of work. And I said, that's more important to me. And I went out and started my own thing. And I did do weddings. And thankfully, I'm not doing weddings any longer. Super high pressure days. Have any photographer? Listen, wedding photographers, some people love it. I just spoke to an old friend and he's like, I thrive on these days. I can't imagine doing volume. Like, well, I love volume. So that was back in 2009. I went from a wedding photographer to a newborn photographer. I was called a baby whisperer. I didn't even have kids yet, and I was able to like get these little newborns to fall asleep in my arms and pose them in the most adorable ways. And I loved it, but there was really not that much money to be made. And it was, my ex would call it a hobby of mine versus, my career. And then I had kids in like 2015. Still worked a little bit here and there, and then stopped working for a bit and played mom. Moved to Connecticut from New York, and once my youngest started kindergarten, I said, "All right, I'm ready to, start up again." And I thought I was doing like a bunch of family shoots, and I was doing a bunch of family shoots. And one dad on the sidelines of the lacrosse field that my son was playing on said, "Well, hey, I don't think I'll do lacrosse pictures for Wilton, Connecticut." And I said, "Oh, maybe I'll try to get that job." And I did. And that was like 300 player league. And I had done schools previously in New York, but like nothing major. And I landed that one gig, and since then had this like huge snowball effect of all of the sports in Wilton and now growing rapidly within my county. So,
So talk to me a little bit more about that first gig, especially with volume and all of the chaos that's
oh
involved
my
in a picture
gosh,
day. What went through your mind when you were first doing that job? Like, what did that day look like? Did you have any help with you, or was it just you?
I shot, I shot. I don't like to, I'm really trying very hard to rephrase how I say I photographed these kids, didn't shoot these kids
I have a funny story
on,
about but
yeah, on the grass, on the grass with the trees far in the background. And like somehow I extracted them and there was grass all over their cleats. And I mean, it was complete chaos. There was no control of light. The sun was out, the clouds came out. I mean, I was just a hot mess. But, listen, I got the job done. And parents that don't know professional lighting, I mean, I made myself look like $1 million for something they hadn't really seen before. And I do team composites. So I'm taking those individuals and building out a cool team photo. And they thought it was the coolest thing. And a lot of people still think it's the coolest thing that I'm doing it that way. And it's super efficient and it makes parents' lives easy. And that is like my goal within this business as a parent of two, that a single parent of two that has to be at, my kids need to be at two locations at the same time, two different locations at the same time. I know what it's like. So I want to, I like strive to make this business and each job that I complete as make it as easy on the parents as possible.
yeah, definitely. I think, for those of you who are not aware what volume photography is, I forgot to mention that.
I did not know there was a term, by the way, of volume photography
Yeah,
before I got into volume photography. Like I told like my wedding photographer friends, yeah,
yeah.
I'm getting into volume. And they're like, well, what the fuck is that?
Are you taking lots of pictures? Like, what does that
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, volume photography are photographers who do photo shoots with a larger amount of subjects. It could look like a picture day at school. It could be a sports league or a sports tournament, also dance leagues or events as well. I mean, we have photographers that do Santa Claus shoots and Easter Bunny pop ups, and those are considered volume as well. So there's a lot of things that can fall into that volume world, and talk to me a little bit about the times.
I hope to never shoot an Easter bunny shoot. I mean, like,
Hey, there's some cool
I
ones.
mean, listen,
There's a guy here in Long Beach, California that does Santa Claus shoots, and he's got a six pack and he wears the Santa beard, but it's a surfer dude. It's like Surfer
that's
Santa,
cute. It's cute.
and yeah, he does pretty well. So
You know, I lived in Long Beach, New York, right?
yes, not related to Long Beach, California,
Yeah,
but
I know, but
no, I'm not saying it for you. I'm saying it for the listeners. But yes, I didn't know that actually.
different coast.
I didn't know you were in Long Beach, New York.
Yeah, Long Beach, New York for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
over
talk to
10
me
years.
as a parent? I know, or even as a kid at school, I remember taking the paper order forms to school. Talk to me about working with paper order forms and manually sorting teams. Do you remember those days trying to figure out
Yes.
logistics?
Yes. So when I was doing my schools in Long Beach, New York, I had my print lab that I still currently use. And I didn't even know
Who is
that they
that, by
were,
the way? We can shout them out.
come on, it's Alkid. It's
Shout
Alkid.
out to David.
They, David, their business was only about 15 minutes away from me. And I used to manually submit each family's order, and boy was it a lot of cash, which was wonderful back in the day. But then I'd go pick up from Alkit all of my prints, and then
Yeah,
I would package everything all on my own as I was sitting in front of my TV. I would package and then I'd hand deliver to the schools, and like this was what it was.
yeah,
And I didn't know any different at the time. And since then, like since I've been in Connecticut and in the volume world for 3 years, I'm not sure I've made $1 in cash since until today. I just landed another school, a grammar school of like 600 kids as of today.
congrats.
I
Nice.
thank you. And supposedly some of the parents don't do online well or might not have an email address. And they asked me, would you do paper order forms? And I was like, well, absolutely, I would. I'd be happy to. I will do whatever it takes.
Yeah,
That is one thing I've learned over the last 3 years is probably at all the conferences that I've gone to. I've learned you say yes and then you figure out how the heck to get it done.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
You
I
just
mean,
make it happen.
when you're in the middle of that grind and that chaos, if you will, how do you keep the love for your work alive? Because burnout, I think, in any industry is real, but when it comes to the amount of personalities that you're engaging with, the amount of parents that you're probably interacting with, what keeps you motivated?
It's a really good question. I think that I am super passionate about my job. Like I just thrive like being with the youth and making these kids feel special, especially when it's with well, I have to I thought it was way cooler to do sports photos at first, but now that I've gotten into the schools and just to make these kids feel special is really what keeps me going. About the burnout, like I get really busy and it's June 2nd
Yeah.
and April and May were insanity. And I was like, I just can't wait for June 1st. And June 1st, I had a shoot, I had a dance shoot. And I have to be completely honest, and I don't know who's listening, so maybe hopefully it's not my dance clients, but I just can't. I hate dance. Hate it. Like
It's a very
I
unique field for
I
sure.
think that I learned from one of the best. We all know who she is, or you and I know who she is, but her name is
You can
Cheryl.
shout her
I'll
out
do a
too.
shout out to Cheryl. Cheryl taught me, and she is so passionate about her dance. I hate dance. I think maybe because I'm a boy mom and I'm not a girly girl myself. I cannot relate to these little girls, little 4-year olds that come up with so much makeup on their face. And I don't know. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
Mm. Hopefully, maybe I can find a photographer that enjoys doing dance and hire them.
Yeah. I hear that sentiment quite often, and I think it's because there's so much to it, and then they're just longer days, I feel, than regular, but, that's funny. I know that I wanna ask you something a little deeper maybe, and
Sure.
I ask you because I think people need to hear it because nobody grows in isolation, right? Were there any things happening outside of your business during some of your harder seasons that were maybe adding to the weight that you were carrying?
Yes. So geez, I started. So my first gig, that first lacrosse job happened in April of 2023. And in June of 2023, I knew that my marriage was going to come to an end.
Can I ask how or like what was the moment you realized that? Like what helped you realize that?
So,
You don't have to answer if you don't want to. It's
no,
just
it's okay. So I felt invisible in my own home, and going to my first photography conference in June of 23. Right? Yeah. I was able to like connect and make these friendships with people that I didn't even know, right? That have become some of my closest friends. But being at that conference, I felt so alive again. I felt attractive again. I knew something was wrong then. When I felt attractive, I was outside of my home with people I didn't even know. And I like literally knew at that point that something needed to change at home. I felt alive. I felt beautiful. And hadn't felt that in a really long time. So I literally came home from my first photo conference and called my therapist, who I had stopped seeing for a while, in complete panic. It took me a year and a half to grow strong enough to be able to leave my marriage. But within that time, I learned so much about myself. I grew confident again. I really I think that when I got married, I kind of lost who I was for a very long time. And at the end of my marriage, I was finally like, oh wow, like hello, Regina's back, and I was strong enough at that point to step away and walk away from a marriage with 2 children and not feel selfish about doing so. It was a really scary thing. I had just started my company.
yeah. How did that affect the way you showed up for your business? And maybe how did your business or the work or the kids or those picture days did they show up for you during that time?
I'm sorry, did who show up? Say that again.
Did like the your work, the kids that you worked with or those picture days that you worked that year and a half, like was there anything that showed up for you during that time?
Uh, I just knew that that was where I needed to be. I definitely dove into work because I also knew that I needed to get out of my marriage. And
Mm,
I was like, okay, like, let's go, Regina. Like, I have a great thing going and I'm going to go full force. because I need to leave,
Yeah,
and somehow I need to support myself and my kids. So
of course.
I just made it happen.
And yeah, you did, because
I made it happen. I swear that I truly believe in. I know you and I have spoken about this before, but I truly believe in like manifesting money. I'll do another shout out, but Heather Crowder was the first person who taught me about changing your mindset. And anybody can do it. I didn't have a pot to piss in, and I made it happen. I made it happen. And yeah, you have to have a certain confidence, you know.
I'm picking up
Right.
pennies now, by the way.
You should. Thank you. That's so great. You should never, ever leave a penny hanging on the floor. Like, why would anybody do that? Pick that shit up. That is manifesting money right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. I love that you're doing that.
Yeah, well, after that conversation we had, I do want to talk about the kind of like the pivot, right? This kind of growth explosion, if you will, of your business. So a lot was going on personally, and obviously something shifted, and then you made a decision to go digital, right? Rethinking your entire workflow. What finally made you say, "Hey, this isn't enough manual work. Let's do this differently."
I think that it was probably my ex, to be honest with you. That was I probably bitched so much about the manual labor that I did when I was living in New York and working there, that I started back up in Connecticut. He was like, "Go for it." He was supportive. Go for it, but like basically like I can't handle your bitching. So how are you going to make this better for you and for me? And I called David. I called David at Elkit. I was like, I got this lacrosse job and I don't know what the fuck to do. And he told me what to do. And that was it. I got an online platform
You can say it.
and yep, yep. He said, call Got Photo, get in there. They're gonna set you up for success. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't know a damn thing though. And I felt after that job when I went to my first conference, I still didn't know a damn thing.
Was that summer camp or was that SPAC?
Yeah. Yeah, that was summer camp
Summer
of
camp.
23 was my very first conference. And
Oh,
that's when I left summer camp and I went home and I was like, okay, I am going to crush this business. I'm sorry, wait a second. That first summer camp, I saw David, of course. Me and David have like this bond too, just like you and I have. And I looked at him, I'm going to become the top volume photographer in Fairfield County. I had one job under my belt, and I said that to David. He's probably like, he's always been super supportive too. Like, yeah, you go get him.
love
You know
David.
what? I went and got him. Like, so that's really cool. But I came home and I was like, I'm going to build an amazing company. And so it was I guess this really, I don't even know the word. Like I was like on this high of like, here we go with like I'm gonna go for it with my business.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like I knew that my marriage was going to shit also. And it was a year and a half before I had left. And that was really, really hard to manage all of that with hearing my ex in my ear for a year. Why do you want to go get the school? Why do you want that school?
Yeah.
All you did was bitch when you had the schools in New York, and it was really hard to hear, that like bird chirping in my ear, like my job was a hobby, and I do wonder what he thinks now because I know he knows I'm crushing it,
Yeah.
you know. But
I mean, I just want to say 300% growth for those of you listening. It's not this like little bit of growth here and there. I mean, we're talking about going from like five figures into the nicer six figure comfort area. So it's like really nice to it's quite a bit of growth and then to grow again the next season and continue growing. But it's not just that like it's not just the money because I don't think it's not just business growth. I think as someone who met you at that summer camp, I've seen you also grow into this amazing person, amazing human being. And I want to know when you started seeing the results, when the money started coming in and orders are just coming in automatically and stuff like that. Was there a moment where you just stopped and thought, like, oh shit, like I'm doing it? Like I built something here.
yes, I don't exactly know when that was. Probably sometime last year. I remember looking at like the dashboard, and I think it shows, am I correct? It shows like the weekly
Yeah.
number or something. And that number was getting really high. And I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, I am doing it. It's also been like, I have to be completely honest with you, like as amazing as my business is doing, it's still internally a struggle sometimes for me. Like I know that I'm gonna be great and okay, but expenses, I probably pay my photographers way too much money, is what I've heard, but I value them. Some photographer friends from other states have said, "Oh my God, I will come fly out there and work for you." But yeah, there's definitely been that like, holy shit moments of, really big growth and really big months. So there's like those really high, big seasons, and then there's those really lows too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You've said before you're living proof that it works, and and I think the quote is, "I'm excited to see where we go together." So that's the energy of someone maybe who's just getting started. But where is RCP headed? Where is the future?
I don't know. I
And
mean,
that's
we're going, yeah, we're going big. We're going big. I just said to a friend of mine today, I'm like, I want to gross 1 million. I don't know when. It might be sooner than later. Maybe we'll have our next podcast when that happens.
I will bring you on when that happens, which probably will be in a few not within the year, sure, for sure.
No, not within a year, but yes. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a timeline. I'm just
Hmm.
having a lot of fun with it. I don't feel like it's a job, which is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a lot of people feel that way. Not everybody loves their job, you know. But like I truly, besides dance, because I did not want to go to work yesterday. It's probably the only day of the entire year that I was like, I can't believe I have to go to work today because I love going to work. Yeah.
You've mentioned it brings you joy to like make kids happy or bring them this joy as well. What does it mean to you spiritually, if anything? You photograph thousands of kids, you're capturing all these moments forever. Does that carry any weight for you?
On a spiritual level, I'm not sure. I don't know if I have the answer to that. What?
That's okay. I'm just thinking like
Can you throw me
if
a
I had
curveball?
thousands of people with like pictures that I took in their homes, like knowing the fact that I'm in that many homes, like just thinking about all the school years and everything that you photograph, does that not make you think or wonder at all?
It makes me think and wonder that a lot of people talk about me. I hope on like a good level.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's this one. I have a couple of quick stories. There's a mom in my town. She has, I think, 3 kids, and she says it to me every time I see her at one of my shoots. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited! Here's my Christmas card." Like, she uses the photos for her Christmas cards. It's the sweetest thing. She's even sent me pictures of her Christmas cards
Oh,
because it's really nice to see, um, that and know that people are framing their pictures and cherishing them and going from season to season with their kids in sports or school pictures. And then there's another mom. I was out to dinner with a friend who works with me actually, and I didn't know this person. She knew my friend Kim. She came up and said, "Oh, you're Regina, right?" And I said, "Oh yeah, how are you?" And I think a lot more people than um, think actually know my situation, that I've gone through a divorce in the last year,
mm,
and I'm now on my own supporting my kids and building this new life as a
yeah.
single mom and business, right? And she was the kindest person. She made me cry. And she just said, it's really just absolutely amazing what you have done for yourself growing this business. She's like, I've never seen anything like it, and it's so cool to watch. So it's really, really cool to just a mom. I photograph, I think, like three of her children, and she knew who I was as I was sitting at the bar having dinner, and felt comfortable enough approaching me and telling me that. And it made my world. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds like really beautiful. And I was just thinking of how unfortunate it is that we work or we live in a world where like women, aren't as supported in their businesses or in their ideas. And I think when you see a success story, when you see, hey, it's possible, and like your story, right? I mean, definitely a success story in my eyes. And you're essentially a role model now, Regina. You're looked up to by people. And when they see or hear your story, it'll be something people can be like, wow, that's amazing. For photographers out there right now, or any business owners, specifically women who maybe feel like they're struggling or they're going through something personal while they're trying to make things happen.
Hmm.
Maybe they just feel like they're not growing fast enough, making enough money, doing enough. What would you tell them?
Oh my gosh. I feel like my biggest mantra to myself for years, and this goes way before I went through my divorce, but like telling yourself, number one, starting with just like, I am enough. What I do is enough, and then building that confidence in yourself. Like, people probably looked at my life as I had this perfect, beautiful life, on the outside. I lived in the dream home. I, have a beautiful family, like whatever. Like, but like those material things, I'm sorry, it just doesn't mean shit, right? And if you're not happy, like, become happy. Like, do whatever you have to take. Do what it takes. Do what it takes. Grow, yeah, grow the pair of balls, basically. Sorry, Hugo.
No, it's okay.
Like, you have to make what you want out of your life
Yeah.
because we only get one. It's a fragile, beautiful thing.
For someone who's not noticing the signs that are there, or maybe lying to themselves about making decisions that are good for them, what are some tips you can give someone who's struggling or making excuses for things? That could be for a person, that could be for a specific job even that they're doing that they're not happy with. Like, what are some of the signs that you noticed that you think people could miss?
No, stump me there.
That's okay. Or maybe you can answer this. You've rebuilt and you've grown through seasons that I think could have made a lot of people quit. So what is the belief system? Call it faith, call it a mindset, call it whatever feels right. What was it that kept you moving forward?
I think it's really easy to make excuses to get out of whatever it is that you don't want to do. I am the first one to make the excuse. As tough as I am, another thing when I was before I had left my home, I joined a triathlon group and I wound up completing a half Ironman in September of 2024. And I think completing something, mind you, wait, let me just back up for a second.
Yeah.
I had never ran 5 miles. I didn't grow up a swimmer. I had never swam, I don't know, 2 full lengths of the pool in my life,
Yeah.
and I started training in March of 2024, and in September of 2024, I completed this half Ironman, and I swear that by doing something and having the discipline to go out there, training, getting pushed me to my limit to say I can go and do anything at this point in my life. Like, bring it on. What do you got for me? Like, but at the same point, I still like to make excuses.
Yeah.
A couple of my friends work out every single day. I'm like, oh, to find the motivation to get there again. I pushed myself this morning. I haven't ran in so long. This morning, I'm like, Regina, get out of bed. You have no excuse as to why you shouldn't get up right now and go join my triathlon club, which I haven't seen them in a very long time. And I went up. I got up. I met my group at 6:30 this morning and I ran 5 miles. Haven't done it since September of 2024.
Oh, wow. And
So I think I felt great. I felt great. But like people, just stop making the excuses.
yeah.
That's really what it is, right?
No, definitely. I think,
I can be busy with work,
yeah.
not go out for the walk, but I'm learning and I am trying very hard, very good at taking care of others. And I'm learning slowly to care of myself and put myself first. And I was called selfish for many years. So I think I have a hard time being able to put myself first,
Mm,
but like I just started going back to yoga again and it feels amazing. It's a great meditation for me.
yeah.
So little by little, it's like baby steps,
Yeah.
baby steps. But I think anybody that wants to do something, it doesn't have to be photography or they have a passion for something, take those little steps and be confident in yourself. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to go do it.
I hope that when people hear this, they can easily recall all the excuses they've made and then push themselves to
Yeah,
get over it and just do it.
just go do it. Yeah.
The Ironman or any of the trainings or even running 5 miles to me seems like so far out of reach, but it's so important to just start, right? To
My
just
goal this morning, literally,
yeah,
was just to show up.
there you go. There you go.
I was not, I didn't think I was running 5 miles. I was like, you know what, Regina? It's enough just to show up. I'm going to be proud of myself just to show up because it has been a while.
Yeah.
And then as I was running, I'm like, you know what? I'm dying at like 2.5 miles. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to run 3. And then I hit the 3. And a couple of my friends that I was running with, they're like, you're going to go a little further? I'm like, yeah, I'm actually okay. I'm going to keep going. And then I hit 4. And then my friend Pasquale, he's like, well, why not do 5? And I'm like, fuck you, Pasquale. And then I did 5.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of, it is, I think, I really, truly believe it is about the mindset, changing that mindset. I can do it. Why can't we do it?
Yeah. mindset has got to be strong for sure. You know, it was the same for me with this podcast. I've been postponing it for such a long time.
Mhm.
And even though and 2 episodes ago, I spoke to a person she was a grief therapist or grief behavioral coach. And we talked about kinks. We talked about sex parties, things that I was not really like in any way, shape, or form ready for. But I showed up and the conversation ended up being really like interesting. So, I find myself with more and more interesting conversations every time I come on here. And I really just love that you've sat here with me today and for being, I want to thank you for being open, for being honest. I want to say that it's really cool to show people what it looks like to build something that's successful, even though life is asking a lot of you at the same time. You are proof that passion, persistence, and the right people around you can take you further than you ever planned to go. And, we have one last tradition on the show, which I don't know if you're familiar with this one, but I use AI. It's been listening to our conversation,
Mhm.
and I use AI to generate a random question. Okay, so I have no idea what questions it's going to be.
Oh.
And then it ties it to an emotion. So, like, say, what's your favorite color? And then the emotion is joy. You have to tell me about what about that color brings you joy, if that makes sense.
Oh
So,
gosh. Okay, here we go.
so
Making me nervous.
the emotion you got is love or belonging is the word in that emotion.
Belonging.
Yeah, like where do you feel like you most truly belong? And then the question that we got is what are you most excited about that's coming, and is it something that you can share?
What am I most excited about that is coming? That I'm going to be a speaker?
Amazing. Where are you going to be
I'm
speaking?
going to be speaking at Capoeira Summer Camp 2026. And I'm super excited because I'm also really nervous. It kind of feels surreal because I still feel, I know you think of me as like this big success, but I still feel like I am so new to the volume. But I am excited to show people that my confidence, really, and like what what they can do with that. That's what I'm excited for. That's coming up this month.
That's amazing. I love
Uh-huh.
that so much for so many reasons. One of
It
my
took me a really long time to be able to get there, right?
I've been asking you about it for almost 2 years now. So,
I wasn't confident enough then, and now I
and
am,
And you know what? I will, and
right?
that was actually part of what I mentioned earlier. Like I've seen you grow from it, not just your business sense, but like that confidence that you're talking about, that swagger
Mhm.
or that presence, right? And I've seen you.
Is it that noticeable?
I think you've become. I mean, not that you were a nervous wreck when I first met you, but you were pretty much. You were is very chaotic energy, very like all over the place, very scattered to now when I see you at any conference, whether it's summer camps or SPAC or
Mhm.
anything we're at, I see you and I'm just seeing I got my shit together, Regina, and laid back. Oh, you drink? You want a drink? I got you. Like, it's super like super chill, not stressed. It's a completely
Wow.
different Regina. But it's
Oh, yeah.
nice to see, and I wish that type of success for everybody.
Mhm.
And to everyone listening, I hope something that Regina shared today lands in the right place for you, And with that being said, Regina, is there anything else that you'd like to let people know? Where can people find you? How can they see your work? How can they hire you? Where are you reachable at?
It's no idea.
What do you mean?
Uh,
No social media? You don't want to plug in your Instagram or
yeah,
YouTube
sure.
or
My
something?
Instagram handle is the RCP Team.
I will add the links below. I will tag you
Thank you so much,
so
Hugo.
to make sure people are
Thank you.
aware of where to find you.
Thank
And
you. We
funny
are
enough,
located in Fairfield County. Connecticut.
Oh, there you go. To all my 2 Connecticut listeners, probably.
Yeah, yeah, really.
But yeah, no, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This episode is probably gonna air on the week of summer camp, so I'm actually kind of excited
Oh my gosh, I'm
that
excited.
that it worked out that way. But
We
anyhow,
should do an airing at summer camp
oh
together.
yeah, yeah, we could. A premiere. That's not a bad idea. I like it.
We could just publish this
Yes,
and then just sit in the audience for
and
our
just
for
answer
our
questions. We'll wear the same thing,
perfect.
and then we'll just be like, "Yeah, we just planned this. It was nonchalant. We just did this last night. No, no biggie."
That sounds good.
Regina, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you joining me today. And, I always end my episode saying, don't lose faith, lose fear, peace, and let your heart be light. I'll see you guys. Bye,
Oh,
everybody.
you're the best, Hugo.
You're
Thank
the
you
best.
so much, Hugo.
Thank you, Regina.
Can't wait to give you a big hug in a couple weeks.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks.